In this video, I'm going to show you how to make crispy pork belly. I reckon the best thing you can do to get that crispy pork belly is dry that skin out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to open our pork belly up. We're going to take it out of the packet. We're going to get some paper towel and we're just going to wipe that skin really dry. Now you can trim your pork belly first if you like. I'm going to do that once our skin has dried. And now all I'm going to do is just get it on top of some cling wrap. I'm just going to fold that cling wrap up around the edges. You want to be sure you don't cover any of the skin, and we're just covering the underneath and sides up so our meat doesn't dry out. And then all I'm going to do now is get that onto a tray, and that's going to go into the fridge anywhere from 2 to 4 days. So our pork belly's been drying out in the fridge for 2 days now, but before we get that out, we're going to get some charcoal going. Now we're going to be using our kettle today, so if you've got another style of kettle barbecue, you can follow along to this video. But for now, we're going to open our lid and take our cooking grate off, and then we'll take our charcoal baskets out for now. Then I'm just going to get a couple of firelighters down and light them up. Now we can get our charcoal chimney on top, and then you want to fill that with either lump charcoal or briquettes. And now we've got about 10 to 15 minutes before those briquettes are going to be ready, so we'll use that time to prepare our pork belly. I'm just going to take our pork belly out of the tray, and that skin has dried out really nice. And what I'm going to do now is just flip it skin side down on our cutting board, and we'll get started on trimming this up. So I just want to remove any excess fat and silver skin. And now I'm happy with that underside. We're just going to flip it over and I'm just going to square up these edges. Now you don't have to do that, but it will help give you a nice uniform shape. And don't waste those offcuts. You could always do them in the air fryer, knock the skin off, do them separate. Save the meat for sausage mince, roll them up and make some little pork belly lollipops. It's up to you. But now we're trimmed up, we're just going to flip it back over and season the meat side. You can hit it with any of your favourite seasonings, but I'm just going to go with a little bit of garlic goals. And we'll make sure we get our edges. And then we just want to brush any seasoning we've got on the skin off. And then to help give us that nice bubbly crackling we all love, you can go ahead and just prick the skin all over with a knife. Or if you've got a jacquard, that'll make your life easier, which is what I'm going to use. If you want to pick one of these up, I'll put a link down in the description. But now I'm just going to go ahead and pierce the skin all over. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to score the skin. I'm just going to go around 1 centimetre apart. And you only want to be going a couple of mil deep. You don't want to be going through to the meat. And you don't have to be scoring the meat at all, but I'll show you why I'm doing this in a moment. And we're just going to hit it with a little bit of oil. You just want a nice light coat all over that skin and a good sprinkle of salt all over. And now that's ready to go once our barbecue's ready. And now our briquettes are ready. We're going to take them out for a moment. Get our charcoal baskets in. I'm just going to put them at a diagonal up the front here like so, and then fill them up. And then we'll just tidy up the briquettes and make sure they're even across both baskets. Then we're going to shut our lid and make sure both of our vents are wide open. And now we just want to give our barbecue a few minutes to preheat before we get our pork belly on. While that's happening, we're going to talk about this pork belly rack. So here's our pork belly rack, and as you can see, it's got lots of holes in it, and that's going to let any rendering fat or juice drain out rather than just pull up. And our pork belly is going to be sitting on this like so. And we've made those score marks vertical, so any fat rendering through those score marks will be able to drain off as well. I picked this rack up from Bubba's Barbecue. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested in one. But now our barbecue's nice and hot. Let's get this pork belly in. So let's open our lid. We'll get our cooking grate back on, and then we'll get our beautiful pork belly on the rack. Just over here, and then we'll shut our lid and let that start cooking away. Now this is my first time using that pork belly rack, but I've done similar pork belly cooks in the past. Luckily that Blackjack kettle's got a big lid vent on it, so I'll be able to keep an eye on our pork belly throughout the whole cook. And I'm going to be aiming for a cooking temperature of around 450 to 500 degrees Fahrenheit or 230 to 260 degrees Celsius. And all we're going to be doing is cooking this pork belly hot and fast, so I'm going to be building that crackling nice and quick. I'm going to keep a close eye on that crackling, and if I see it starting to burn or overcook in some areas, I'm going to open it up and I can either rotate our pork belly or cover those areas in foil. But for now, we're going to let this pork belly go and we'll check in throughout this cook. All right, we are only 30 minutes in and I can see through our vent that this crackling is looking absolutely incredible already. I'm just starting to notice it getting a little bit dark over the top. So all I'm going to do is just get a little bit of foil, mold it over the top like so, and then I'll just lay a piece along the bottom as that section is starting to look a little bit dark as well. And now we'll shut our lid and let that keep going. And now all I'm going to do for the remainder of this cook is just continue to keep an eye on that pork crackling. I'll cover up any areas that are starting to overcook or burn, and I'll continue cooking this pork belly until it reaches an internal temperature of around 185 Fahrenheit or 85 degrees Celsius. I find that's a really good internal temperature for pork belly where that fat's rendered down nicely and the meat's nice and tender too. All right, and after about a total total of 90 minutes, I reckon our pork belly is done. We're right at the internal temperature we want to be at. So we can take this foil off. And seriously, have a look at that. And now I'm just going to get it on a rack to rest. And I'll let that pork belly rest for around 10 minutes before we come back to slice and serve it. Look at that. Tender, juicy meat. Perfect crackling. That fat has rendered beautifully. This is going to be good. Right, let's cut a bit to try. Wow, you've got that beautiful bubbly crackling you're not going to break your teeth on. And that meat is so tender, flavoursome and juicy as well. That's honestly one of the best pork bellies I've ever done. And now one of my favourite ways to serve pork belly is on a bun. So I've got a steamed bun here I'm going to open up. I'm going to start by getting some fresh cucumber slices down on that. And a nice big slice of our pork belly, some pickled carrot, a little bit of red chilli, a little sprinkle of some fried shallots, and then a good drizzle of hoisin sauce. And this right here is honestly one of my favourite things to eat. You've got sweet, savoury, a good freshness from those cucumbers, a nice little sour kick from those pickled carrots, a good little chili kick, and then that beautiful steamed bun. That's such a good combination. So there you have it. There's how to make crispy pork belly in a charcoal barbecue. That was honestly one of the best pork bellies I've ever cooked. I'll put everything you need to know and all the steps to follow down in the video description. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you do so you don't miss our next videos. But for now, that's the end of the video. So thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.